It is now a couple minutes before 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So, hello. So, hopefully you are aware, if you're not aware, that there's a new video up. So, it is the highlights of the Viking River cruise that Tom and I took through Switzerland, Germany, France, and then a day in the Netherlands. And so I looked for yarn and crochet along the way, and I didn't find as much as I had expected, but take a look at that video because there's some really interesting things going on with crochet that I was very perplexed by, should we say. So give that a look if you don't mind. Good morning, Carlene. Good morning. Also, I went ahead and at the end of that trip video, the Viking River trip video, I forget, I think I just called it the Europe trip. Um, created a playlist so you can go back and watch the Paris trip and the Iceland trip if you wish. And then the end cards at the end of the video that started this morning, that aired this morning. At the end of that, there are cards for the Paris trip and the Iceland trip. Apparently, I didn't do one for Ireland. Oh, you know what? I wasn't on YouTube when we went to Ireland. Um, and I wonder if I should make, wonder if I have enough highlights to go back and reflect on the Ireland trip, which was 2016. Is that something you would be interested in? Do you want me to go back through the archives and see what I can find from the Ireland trip? So now the Ireland trip was really fascinating because it was a crochet trip. So that was back, okay, that was back when I was editor of Crochet Magazine, Crochet exclamation point magazine. I was the editor of that magazine until 2017. So I think like 2013 to 2017, something like that. Anyway, that was big. We were big into craft tours back then. I think I was the first trip that Annie's sponsored with a company called Craft Tours. And as the editor of Crochet Magazine, I went along as the MC or host. My nose is really itchy today. MC or host of that trip, and we brought along Jennifer Ryan, who was a specialist crochet designer in Irish style crochet, and so we took 40 people or so who signed up to go on this tour to Ireland, and I brought the family along because that was the first time I had traveled really internationally outside of North America, and I had Annie's was paying for me to go, and I told my husband, it's like, well, we have the opportunity to take the kids along, we'd have to pay for you and them, but at least it would be 25% off because we wouldn't have to pay for me. And he was like, well, we'll have to think about it. I'm like, what is there to think about? Yes, we are doing this. It's a kind of a no-brainer, once in a lifetime thing. So anyway, the trip was amazing. So during the trip, we did all of the touristy things. We visited Galway, we visited Dublin, we visited Kilkenny. We visited the Cliffs of Moher. We saw glass blowing. We saw crystal making. We saw scone. We went to a little family farm that did scones making. Mara found four-leaf clovers in Dublin, in Ireland, not in Dublin. We saw a rainbow in Ireland, which was gorgeous. We saw sheep. We just saw a sheep shearing demonstration. So lots and lots of really fun times. The crochet wise, Jennifer taught 2 different crochet classes during the time. And it was really it was really interesting because I don't know. Should I be offended? I don't know. Jennifer Ryan was great, and I'm so glad that she came along. And she was a terrific teacher and a perfect, made a lot of sense for her to be there. But I I was I kind of was offended a little bit that my executive director at the time, my boss at Annie's at the time, didn't want me to teach at all on the trip. And she didn't think that I was a big enough draw to have people want to sign up, that we needed a bigger name than me to get people to come on the trip. And so it was a little awkward in some ways because I felt kind of like people, I mean, I felt like the people on the trip were amazing, and I felt like they were very kind and they seemed excited to see me, which was good for my ego. But I felt like my executive director person at Annie's didn't think that I would be a draw for people to sign up. And she didn't want me to teach anything. And I'm kind of like, no offense to Jennifer, she was awesome and definitely a draw. But I'm like, why are we paying a teacher and all her expenses when I could do that? And not that I could do what she does, but I could teach my own thing. Anyway, it was just kind of fascinating, and maybe my ego needed a little bit of a check because they decided that I was too expensive after shortly after that trip, and that's when the whole contract negotiations with Crochet Magazine kind of fell apart, and I ended up withdrawing from my desire to stay in that role, um, when they were cutting my salary by 25%. So I said, if you're going to pay me 25% less, then I think I will pass. For good or bad, that's what ended up happening. But anyway, kind of a funny story. And I do have many photos somewhere for that trip that are sights and sounds of Ireland. Hi, buddy. A lot of pictures with the kids when they were like uh, 14 and 15, I think, at that time. So funny. Anyway, that's about it for today. I got to get going, but I will see you tomorrow, a few minutes before 10 again, I think. And we will go from there. Yeah, a few minutes before 10 tomorrow. So I will see you then. And comment below if you want me to piece together a thing for Ireland. And go watch the one from Europe, Switzerland, Germany, France, and the Netherlands. Don't forget Paris and Iceland if you are interested. Take care. Have a great